All right, so Carey, thanks for taking the time today to answer a couple of questions for us. We're happy that you're here. So folks may not know that you're a hunter. Tell us a little bit about this past hunting season for you. What did you do? Did you get anything?
Yeah, it was a pretty good season. I do most of my hunting out west, but I actually got a whitetail buck during muzzleloader season in Quebec, and got a bull moose in Alberta.
Awesome.
And a whitetail buck there. So it's a pretty fun season. Go to Alberta because I got a lot of family there, so it's nice to be able to go back there and spend some time with family that I usually only get to see a couple times a year or once a year when I used to go play in Edmonton or Calgary.
Mm-hmm. So when you go hunt out west, so obviously I'm not from Canada, but when you say out west, is that what you mean, Alberta?
Yeah, I did a little bit of hunting in BC, but primarily Alberta, yeah.
Okay, and mostly moose and whitetail?
Elk.
Elk also.
The last couple of years we've been going for elk over there, so it's something that elk hunting is something that I'm new to, and I really started to like it. I can tell why everybody's really drawn to it out west. Yeah.
So what draws you to it? Have you been successful so far, and what is it about elk hunting that's different than moose and whitetail for you that you love?
It's the sounds, the interaction.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what draws most people to it. But just that interaction with it's like a majestical creature walking around out in the woods, But being the main draw for it for me is to be able to go and spend some time with my family in Alberta. Like I said, I haven't really got to spend a whole lot of time with them, and I've been waiting my entire adult life to be able to do that. So being able to do it now has been a real blessing.
What time of the year is elk season in Alberta?
September is the best time to go.
Okay.
It runs all the way till November, but September is the most fun. It's been pretty hot the last couple of years, but just when they're communicating the most in September.
And what does an elk hunt look like for you when you go over? How long do you spend? Are you backpacking out into the woods, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, usually we go over there and spend about a week at a time. I got 3 kids at home.
Yeah.
Life slowed down, but it's still pretty busy and chaotic at home. So usually sneak away for about a week, and then if we're successful, great. If not, we'll come back later, usually in November.
Okay. Is it starting to get cold in November?
We were there in November this year, and it wasn't too bad, but it dropped down to like minus 26, 27 Celsius.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah,
I can't do the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion.
It's getting closer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cold. So, what were some of your earliest hunting memories? Who got you into it? What did that look like?
I grew up in a remote area out in Anaheim Lake. A lot of folks out there rely on sustenance hunting for food, and my uncles especially were raised in the same manner. So, they probably had a big influence on that. And then, again, my family in Alberta, they've been, my cousins have been hunting ever since they were just little kids. Me being a hockey player, I didn't get into hunting until later in life, because hunting and hockey season are kind of the same time. So, as I got older, I got introduced to it more, and now that I have a little bit more time on my hands, I've kind of really gone into it deep.
Yeah. Are your kids of age where you can start to bring them with you sometimes? Or?
They're still pretty young. My daughter's 7, 5, and then my little boy's 3.
Okay.
They're still pretty young, but definitely in the future, if they want to and they enjoy it, it's something I would love to share with them.
Yeah. So who was it particularly that got you into it? So you said you started later in life. Was it just a desire from seeing your relatives early on, and you wanted to go out and do it, or did you have a friend locally that you teamed up with?
Yeah, I went out with a friend like in the Kelowna area. We went out, and I got my first buck when I was probably about 22 probably.
Okay.
It was quite a bit later in life, and I've always had that connection with food. It really was the main draw to it for me. Growing up in an area of sustenance hunting and using the seasonal round was something that related to me.
Yeah, awesome. So you started when you were 22. You said, has it kind of been off and on since then?
Yeah. Usually, you know, like I said, like hockey season and hunting season basically start out at the same time of year. Like end of August, I'm rolling around. I'm getting full swing prep for the upcoming season. And then in Montreal, I would typically, you know, a couple of times a year, I'd go waterfowl hunting. You know, we usually only get one day off a week. It's usually on a Sunday, and we played the night before, so it's pretty hard to get motivated to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go set up decoys. But I'd usually get out a couple of times a year, and over the last couple of seasons is when I started really getting into whitetail hunting in the east. And I met a really nice family on the south shore of Montreal, and they treated me so nice and were very generous with their time and resources. So it was nice to be able to go outside of the normal bubble, you know, because normally when I'm in Montreal, I've been, you know, working. It's like my house, game rink, practice rink.
Yeah.
So being able to go see different parts of the countryside was a real blessing.
So I was looking back at these questions. It's something I just realized. You know, our brand influencers, every single one of them, you know, grew up hunting and has hunted, you know, their entire life. So I've got some different questions, I think. So what, starting later in life, what was has anything surprised you about hunting? Something that you learned or saw that maybe you didn't expect about, you know, just the difference from you know, being in the city to being in the woods, or, you know, taking an animal's life? Has there been anything that was different than what you thought?
You know, I think the biggest thing that you know, that came to my mind was my relation to cooking. You know, like I really feel like I've expanded my abilities in the kitchen, and I think that's something that my wife appreciates, and my kids, like they've grown up eating wild game their whole lives. So we don't really buy beef anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's something that I've really enjoyed.
How do you prepare your beef or your venison? Are y'all just you know, sausage, ground meat? What all you doing?
With kids, ground is the easiest thing to bury in just about everything. But they're good with steaks, roasts, you know, sliced lunch meats. Like they're good with everything.
Nice, and they all enjoy it.
Yeah.
None of them ever like, it smells weird. Or...
No, they don't know anything different. And I've been blessed. Like you know, I'm very particular about the way I handle everything.
Yeah.
You know, like I make sure everything's done properly. So I've been fortunate where I haven't had anything real off tasting.
And how do you describe, you know, being a hunter, or how would you describe, you know, that outdoor lifestyle to someone that's a non-hunter, or even someone that's against it?
Yeah. Well, I think, like, you know, for me, like the biggest draw to it was connection to food and family. You know, I think that's something that everybody can relate to, and if you can relate, you know, your city lifestyle to this, you can relate to it.
Yeah. And what role has trail cameras used in your recent success? You know, maybe, you know, starting out you may not have used them, but obviously you've been using Spy Point for a little while now.
Yeah, especially you know, my relatives in Alberta, they run Spy Point cameras, usually in you know, remote areas, so you're not able to use the cell cameras, but they run cameras pretty hard up there. It's nice to have an idea of what's in the area before you get there. And then on the East Coast, the farm that I was hunting on, we use these pretty extensively too.
Are you able to send any over to Alberta before you go to kind of see what's going on now that you got targeted?
Yeah, they spend a lot of time out there before I get there. Like my uncle, he's pretty much a resident of the remote area that we go to. So he's like a wildlife whisperer, we call him. But you know, it's nice to be able to have an idea if you're in the right area at the right time of year.
Yeah. So for this upcoming season, what plans do you have hunting wise? Any new animals or new territory that you haven't been to yet, or?
I don't have any huge plans yet. We're talking with a couple of friends of mine of possibly going up to Alaska to go caribou hunting.
Nice.
You know, we got a lot of work to do before we get to that point, but that's, you know, on the radar. That would be a lot of fun. But I've always been looking forward to September elk hunting. That's what I really enjoy doing right now.
Yeah, I've got a friend that did some well, he went and did a caribou hunt. It was one of those, it was a drift trip, they call it. You know, you
Yeah.
take all your stuff, pack it in a boat, and
Yeah.
build camp on the side of the river, that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, so I think this plan is we're going to fly into an area, you know, set up camp and just kind of, I've never done it, so I'm looking forward to like a new experience. I guess you just go up there and wait for them to roll through and
Yeah.
make a move. So one thing that draws me to hunting also is just being able to see new ground. You know, I love exploring, being able to see different areas of the country and places. I like seeing new earth.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the things that you've got in your pack at all times? You know, it's, you know, say you get to your spot, and you're like, oh, I forgot this. Well, that doesn't matter. What are a few pieces of gear that you absolutely have to have with you all the time?
Snacks.
Yep. Everyone said that.
Yeah, snacks. You know, it's like, I feel like when I first got into hunting, I was like, oh, I gotta have this, gotta have that. You know, then you start to learn after a while, like you just need the essentials. Like you don't need to overthinking it. You know, it's like gun, bow, knife, game bags.
Yeah.
Everything else from there I can figure out.
So we've always gone deeper with the snacks. What's your favorite hunting snack?
Oh, it depends on where I'm at. Depending on if I'm backcountry hunting on the Alpine or if I'm sitting in a blind and on the East Coast. You know, bars. I feel like everybody's got bars.
Yeah.
I really like the honey wafers. Those are pretty good. Backcountry hunting. That's probably the.
Okay. No Little Debbie's for Carey Price?
No, never
Honey
really.
buns.
I think that's a Southern thing, man. I've never been a Little Debbie's person.
No, we just had somebody from Minnesota that.
Oh, yeah?
Oh no, hers was Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Hers was
Pop-Tarts is
yeah.
a good one too.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts. See, I go with the things that either one, smell like something that the deer would come to, you know, like a peanut butter, or the you know, real. I'm a fiend for sugar.
Yeah, you think a Reese's peanut butter cup's going to be?
Oh man, it's got to be the double stuffed ones.
Yeah,
Though, man.
yeah.
The big thick ones are the ones even better that have the Reese's Pieces in them.
Yeah, I had one with a pretzel in it yesterday. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, they have those too. Yes, I can't do the salty and sweet. But the trick with those, you got to take them out of the package and put them in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
get a
not
little
loud.
self-conscious out there when you start
Man,
tearing it apart.
Can't be too loud. Can't be too loud. So we've seen pics of you, you know, taking deer with a rifle, one with muzzleloader. Have you ventured into the archery side of it?
It's something that I wanted to get to. I shoot my bow all the time off the back porch. I spent all last fall chasing whitetails with a bow, and just never worked out. You know, it's you got to have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
You know, and it's moving forward too. The further along I get into elk hunting, I think that's something that I would like to get into too. Especially like, you know, like early September is like that's the big draw for elk is because of that interaction, and I think that's something like I need more experience before I get there though.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think that's one thing that people have a tendency to jump in too early.
Yeah.
You know, that there's a lot that can go awry.
Yeah.
You know, shooting with a bow.
Yeah, but like I do really enjoy shooting my bow. It's something that I really find, you know, like fascinating, and getting into like, you know, setting it up. I got a bow press, you know, really starting to geek out about it a little bit. So,
yeah. So what bow do you have?
I have a Prime Rise right now.
Okay. Awesome.
I've had it for a few years now, and I'm fortunate that I have a really good bow shop in Kelowna, and fella in there, Chuck, has really helped me out, like helped me understand how everything works, and it's nice to have a mentor.
Yeah. So you said something just now that made me think of another question, talking about the patience. What are some life lessons that you've learned other than patience? You just said that through hunting and spending time in the outdoors.
Yeah, managing expectations, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, in a world of, you know, give it to me now, you know, it's nice to be able to, you know, find something that you really have to work towards and spend the time doing it.